Catch the Wave of Success. Okay, we're going to be talking this morning about sales commissions and really this emerging marketplace. One of the things that, you know, it's a pain point that we've all lived with, and we're looking to, you know, provide this as an opportunity because, frankly, we're all about making money, right? And we want to make sure you're successful, that you provide a unique strategy for your clients and your community. And so what we've lined up today is a number of people that can help us with that, okay? So my name is Steve Peterson. I'm with CellarStone, which is now the parent company of WebKPI, Q Commission, Easy Commission, and Q Exchange. With us today is Gopi Mittal, who's the CEO, Pete Bornstein, who's a pro advisor, okay? He's going to be talking about our Q Exchange, answering questions there and his experience so far, and Joe Lindsay, who's responsible for our partner program. So by the end of this presentation, we not only want to educate you on what the opportunity is, but how to get going into this great solution. So, and we're going to make this very interactive. I want to have a lot of fun. So, you know, I have a mic. In fact, I'll start out there now. Okay. So, welcome. If any of you have been to our booth, you maybe have learned a little bit. And by the way, the slides we're going to be going through today are all available on the Woodard network. We made it available to him. So I'm not going to read these things to you. I hate that when it happens to me. So I want to make it as interactive as possible. But here's the objective. We're going to talk initially about sales compensation marketplace, the product introductions. I'll just touch on it briefly, and then we're going to go into the CellarStone partner program. Okay. All right, catching the wave. It means a lot of things to a lot of people, but frankly, we thought it was a great theme for what we're trying to educate here. I mean, there are different versions. You can show up like this lad after the wave is already out, or hoping maybe for the next big wave. You know, he's trying to surf. But what we're talking about is, you know, really the sales compensation marketplace is an emerging. I mean, one of the things that we learned as we started talking between our two companies is how big of a marketplace it is. Okay, and there are a lot of already big players in the space. But as you see here at the conference, we're the only commission product on the floor. I mean, you have a lot of other timesheets and all sorts of other billing and payables and all that other stuff here. But Q Exchange and Q Commissions are really the only products out there that address the commissions. And frankly, what's our competition? It's Excel. Okay, so, you know, one of the questions I constantly get asked is, well, who's your customer? And I frankly go, it's anybody who uses Excel. Okay, and that's what we want to target. Okay. So here's an important stat. If you look in the red, I mean, you can read all that if you want, but this is from a quote from a company CEO who said there are over 10 million salespeople in the US, and yet only 600,000 are being covered by any kind of an automated sales commission program. So does that give you, in terms of scope, in terms of really what this market is looking at? And, you know, frankly, if we ask the right questions, we should help everybody identify those clients. Okay, and one of the things that, you know, I've addressed with some of the people here already is there's 65,000 pro advisors out there. How do you establish yourself to be unique? Right, hang that shingle out, okay? Great example is in Boston, and this is a true story, you have a lot of dentists, right? You have dentists all over the place. So one of the things about dentists is how do you break out? So one dentist came up with a clever idea and wrote a manual, a 10-page guide on a healthy mouth. Entitled it, A Healthy Mouth Leads to a Better Sex Life. Okay? 10 million, over 1 million downloads of her book. Okay, well now she's a recognized figure in the Boston market, right? So again, this is a very simple example, but it's an example that you can use even as you think about your own community and your marketplace and establishing yourself as a commission expert, okay? So what are the pain points? Well, first pain point, Excel. I mean, you know, many of us in the room, I know some of us in the room have also used Lotus 1-2-3, right? Remember those days, right? What's that?
Quattro Pro?
Quattro Pro, I remember that as well. So Excel kind of happened. And now Excel's become this product that everybody uses for manufacturing, production, for information management, to BI, to everything. And the reality is it's stretched its borders, okay? It's an effective tool until the minute you put somebody else into Excel, right? The error rate climbs over 30% with the second user on the same spreadsheet. We all know that, okay? So think about all those sales commission tools that are tracking in Excel, okay? Second thing is, sometimes sales commission plans become complex, okay? So we're in a situation where, they want to do this and that, they don't even know what the heck they're doing, and it has a material impact on their financials of the business. And then finally, it's the one person in accounting who's left doing all this, right? Not even the CFO wants to deal with it. It's go see Susan. She's got it. She's got your commissions, right? So you create this great divide in an organization where you have salespeople wanting to know why they're not getting paid timely. You have this one person stuck with an Excel spreadsheet that was written probably before her, and she's having to produce all these statements and do it accurately as best she can. Okay, and as we also know, those positions tend to turn over a lot as well. We had a case study where we're working with a client where how many turnovers had they had, Gopi, in terms of the sales commission reps?
Sales admin, yeah, it's one of the most common problems we find is that sales commission administrators constantly keep changing. They're just so frustrated getting called by the salespeople and being yelled at. So we had the same customer changing commission administrators like 3 times. And then once we automated, then they decided to stick around.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a major pain point, and frankly, there's a lot of knowledge in that one person in terms of how all these spreadsheets link and work, and et cetera, okay? So here, what pain point leads to. What happens is salespeople adjust, right, Joe? What happens when, you tell me in your work, Joe's been a sales commission rep for many years. Tell us what you've experienced when you feel like your commissions are not being calculated properly.
Well, even if it's not that you feel like they're not being calculated, unless you've got something where you can see it as you're going along, you're keeping your own set of books to see where you're at. And then you're always comparing with whatever they're producing on a monthly basis. So it takes a lot of time. You can eat up 10 or 15% of your time just trying to track where you are.
So here's another pain point is the complex plans. Okay, how many times the sales team puts together a goal, we're going to sell that X more product of Y, and the reality is they have no idea what the commission impact is, and whether or not even by increasing their sales goals on one of those numbers is that they're going to have the desired goal, right? Remember, sales compensation is about driving results, right? You incentivize to get change behavior. If product A is really hot, you start promoting it with heavy discounts and promotions, etc. Okay? Well, these factors alone leave you a confused sales force. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of the 10, the CFO is going to lose the argument with the COO to the sales guys when they're complaining and bitching about the quality of what's going on, right? It's always accounting's fault. It's not the sales department's fault, right? Have we felt that? I mean, how many hands in the room have seen that experience? Yeah, we're like the people that the war has happened and we're out there counting the wounded, right? The reality is the focus, it's an easy shift. It's accounting who's responsible. Well, I'm sorry, accounting wasn't knocking on the client's doors or promising X. We're there to account for it and relay the truth, okay? So what happens is you get unhappy reps, okay, who look at this and say, I'm going to blame everybody, I don't have trust in accounting, etc. Here comes the opportunity. It's a great way for you to talk to your customers about helping them manage this crisis, okay, and automating and finding a permanent solution. And frankly, the salespeople alone will say, let's sign up. Let's remove the pain, let's build the confidence in our team. So here's quickly some best practices that we've seen and relay to our group, okay? If you have an effective sales compensation system, you can drive better results in the company, right? Because then the trust factor is raised, okay? Providing timely reports is huge. Let's face it, how many companies, clients even use now web-based reporting for information to the sales team? Everybody's running around with iPads, right? And Droid devices, etc. Sales reps have to be transparent to the technology. They're out there in the field, okay? Providing accountability, auditability is an important issue when we look at this. So I'm going to switch gears quickly, and in 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you about, just so you know what our product suite includes. I'm not going to, again, these are all in the deck, and if you need brochures, you can come and visit us, okay? But we have Easy Commission, which is our entry-level commission product. All this connects to QuickBooks, okay? We have Easy Commission, Q Commission, and we're going to take you into the product. Gopi will show and answer your questions. Web KPI, which is the dashboarding tool, okay? And Q Exchange, okay? So what I'd like to do next is let's talk about connectivity. How many in the room have accounting software that's not QuickBooks? Do they work with anybody? None? What is that?
He uses Pro Systems, or not Pro Systems, it's Proven Solutions.
Proven Solutions. I haven't
It's a
even heard of it.
restoration.
Have we heard of
Yeah, it's a
Proven?
restoration
Yeah.
company.
The lady over there does too, right?
Yeah, we work with Mass 90 and.
Mass 90, et cetera. Okay. Yeah, right. And so remember, we're here to make money, right? So one of the things that's very important is being able to connect to tools that are not QuickBooks, so you can get the data out, okay? So here's a map of some of the applications that we've done. Now, Pete, we introduced to Q Exchange about a month ago, okay? And so one of the things that we're looking at is, Pete, why don't you share with us your experience in using Q Exchange?
Let me tell you first where I come from. I do business systems integration, and I integrate, my object or my goal is to integrate business seamlessly, or integrate applications seamlessly with QuickBooks. That means eliminating two things, or reducing two things. One is intermediate files, the other is manual efforts. And Q Exchange, I see a lot of synergy in the merger between CellarStone and Web KPI, because Web KPI as a standalone product is super in the way it presents dashboards, but by teaming up with CellarStone's Q Exchange, the uploads are much more, the uploads to the dashboard from all of everything in that hub, including QuickBooks, is much faster, first of all, much more robust, and much more flexible in terms of the data that you can access. And just, I'll say one more thing, and that is, I see the Q Exchange as a vehicle that goes far beyond the merger between Q Exchange and Web KPI, because I deal with a lot of wineries, I deal with a lot of wholesale distribution and manufacturers, and they have many needs to merge data from many sources into QuickBooks, Oracle, and so forth.
And Pete, tell us a little bit about your QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks experience as well.
Yeah, now that's one area that I'm really excited about, and that is, I don't know how many of you have tried to convert QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Desktop, and have you had problems?
Yes.
Absolutely. 90% of the time you'll fail, and I don't know if that's into its plan, because of course if you listen to Jill Ward, you know, she came back a little bit yesterday, and she said that there will be desktop will be around for a long time. But I think there are a lot of people that need to go from QuickBooks Online to desktop because in the current world, QuickBooks Desktop is much more powerful and has much more functionality than QuickBooks Online has. So I see I see the ability to circumvent the problems that you're currently having with what Intuit provides, because you can upload anything in you will be able to upload. They're working right now. You can go from QuickBooks Online to Q Commission and Easy Commission with income, but you will be able to go to the full QuickBooks Online and bring anything you want into QuickBooks Desktop.
I know you told me, one last question, you told me about your experience in using the Q Exchange on your own, where you used some sample data. How long did it take you to work it so you had
The
data?
first time, first of all, I credit Gopi and his team because they sent me the download of a trial of Q Exchange about 2.5 weeks ago. It took me 15 minutes to install it, and within the first hour I was using it. And what I was doing is I was drawing data out of QuickBooks and into Excel. Just as an aside, I help a lot of wineries bring data from their website into that they are currently downloading to IIF files. And IIF files, again, are very problematic. And I'm converting the wineries over to Excel, which can then be brought into QuickBooks via Transaction Pro Importer. If you haven't been to the Transaction Pro Importer booth here, take a look at it. It's powerful.
Thank you. So, you know, what I'm going to quickly do, and I want to you know, get Gopi's comments, but on Q Exchange, you know, we have the ability to map between data points. And Gopi, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so one of the key connections between why we have Q Exchange is the need for sales commission solutions to access a lot of different systems. So a lot of times commissions are paid on invoices. But we also find that companies want to start calculating commissions on an opportunity as soon as it closes. And that can come from a CRM system like Salesforce.com. So we actually integrate with Salesforce.com. We can bring in the opportunity, calculate the commission, show them that's what is due to them, and then wait until that opportunity gets invoiced or even paid for later on. So we have already a need to integrate with the multiple systems. And we wanted to expand and be able to access a much larger marketplace than just what QuickBooks provides, and also be able to increase our engagement price, because our engagement becomes limited by QuickBooks pricing, where some of these other solutions are much more expensive. So we ended up adding a lot of different what we call data access plugins, and we already have Salesforce.com, Microsoft Dynamics Great Plains, Mass 500, Peachtree, number of other applications, including data formats, ODBC connections, SQL Server connections, etc. So you can bring any of that data into sales commissions and calculate. But that also allowed us to forget commissions and just use any two of those adapters or plugins. So we could now, if somebody comes to you and says, I'm growing out of QuickBooks, I still want you to help me with this. So take me to Mass 90, take me to Great Plains, take me to any of those. Now you can help them pull the data out and put it in there. Or maybe they go from Peachtree to QuickBooks. You can do that. Or QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Desktop. As a matter of fact, somebody came by yesterday and said 3 different customers had asked her to convert from QuickBooks Online to QuickBooks Desktop. They were so frustrated. She charges them a flat fee of $3,000. She manually goes through that process and gets it loaded for them. And she was thrilled to know that we can connect to both and then pull and load it into QuickBooks Desktop. So those are some of the use case scenarios that you see. You can also, many of your customers are going to start having websites, e-commerce sites, or they're getting transactions charged through PayPal. How do you get it into QuickBooks? So we can take any flat file, any report, any download, and then load it into QuickBooks as customers, customer job, orders, estimates, invoices, payments, all of those.
Yeah, it's very important to note that, again, you know, the end goal today is how can you as practitioners make more money, right? And we don't want to limit you simply in your expertise world to QuickBooks. Okay, so here's a way that you can grow with your client list. And frankly, the strategy should be you go to your CPA accounting firms in your area, you become, in effect, the sales compensation analyst expert. And they're going to say to you, well, we have Great Plains customers, we have Sage customers, Salesforce customers. Because sales compensation plans could be driven on factors that appear in Salesforce, like number of leads, contacts, et cetera, right? That's not a problem, because now you have a tool that allows you to pull that data. And that's very important. One of the things that we had on the slide here is basically this is a drag and drop. So you identify the tables and the fields in the left column, you drag it over to the right column, and you establish your connection. Gopi, tell us about what some of the larger clients, the number of payee size are for, you know, the type of people getting into this.
Yeah, so we started out definitely very much a QuickBooks partner, but we've been able to expand our opportunities because we become one of those companies that can do all these other systems using QExchange. And most folks, when they look at a business process that they want to automate, they always say, oh, okay, I want to do sales commissions, but I use QuickBooks or I use Great Plains. Does your stuff work with ours? So we can right away say, yes, we can. So we ended up going from a lot of our customers, and you can think of the average insurance agency with 10 salespeople, or almost 100% commissions, 90% of the expenses is a commission expense. That's who we're automating, and suddenly we're doing 1,000 rep companies. So we did, in the last year, 3 different companies: Milwaukee Electric Tool, which is the red-colored drills that you see at Home Depot and Lowe's. We did Hillrom, the largest hospital bed manufacturer in the U.S., and we also did Mobile Mini, which is they rent out job site construction units, and they're all in the thousands, and the deals are all $100,000 because of the size. So it kind of opens us up to be able to access any of them because we said, yeah, we know what it is about.
Thank you.
Can I add just one thing? If you had 2 tools, 2 apps in your toolbox, you would be able to convert any SQL database to any other SQL database, no matter what it is. And those 2 tools are QExchange and Transaction Pro Importer.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. And you can go to your clients and you can say, tell me where you want to come from and tell me where you want to go.
Thank you, Pete. That's excellent. In fact, it follows a question that we were playing with. This is how exciting group we are, right? But last night we asked the question, what would be the top 5 things you would have in your quiver if you were starting your practice today? Okay, all the stuff that you see on the floor, okay? And Gopi, you share with us what some of your thoughts were.
Yeah, I think I was looking at it both as a partner, but also a possible end consumer. What do I want my advisor to be able to guide me through? And there are a few things, and this kind of expands more than what we are talking about here. One of them is this need to be able to interact and integrate with so many different data sources. We're looking at there's a whole new field called marketing automation, the ability to continuously connect with your customer and bring them to a point of purchase. So how do I get the data in and out? So the ability to be able to move data around is a fundamental and continuously required need forever. So there's always a lot of engagement. You start it, you're always going to be doing work with them. There are a number of other things I would like them to be able to help me with. I want them to help me with CRM, which is customer relationship management. I want to make money. I want to manage my customers. That is fundamental to my company. And I always want to look to my advisor and say, what do you think I should do? How will I get this into, how will I accrue my sales, et cetera? So that's one other application. The other thing I want help with is payroll and HR. It's an incredible pain. Again, I want to just turn it over to somebody else. So again, it's a continuous engagement. I'm always looking, as a business person, I would want to look for things that give me a lot of money on a repeated basis that are fairly horizontal. In other words, it should not be vertically constrained. For example, there are 4 time and billing vendors out there, and that's really 2 industries today. Staffing and professional services, and maybe a couple of other ones. Sales commissions is in 65 different industries. So any customer that comes in, insurance, mortgage, staffing, it doesn't matter. You can say, yes, I know something about this. So that's another area that I would like to have access to. And I think
frankly, a Bill.com.
Yeah.
You'd be solving the accounting process.
Yeah, pay and being able to take money in. That's the other area that's continuous that I'd want to be helped with.
But and thank you, Gopi. I mean, it goes to the issue we were talking about, though. How do you become the specialist? How do you become the dentist in Boston who really sings and has that area of expertise? Many at the 65,000 are bookkeepers, general bookkeepers. Establish a specialty, and let's talk about what the reward is. Okay? First off, what do you think the pain is in terms of processing commissions, the current way in organizations? Can I get some examples, or I mean, Diane, you were mentioning a client the other day. How much time do they spend, or do you guys spend doing commission calculation?
Oh, we probably spend about 60 hours a month.
60 hours a month.
Yeah.
Amazing. Has anybody else been involved in sales commission calculation? Yes.
We were just trying to set somebody up, and they wanted to calculate commissions on gross profit,
Right.
but they weren't tracking things in inventory, so.
Okay.
how do you do that?
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just had a client that thought they were calculating on a material base price number instead of the actual, because they were getting price differences, found out they weren't.
Interesting.
So they were overpaying what they thought in commissions.
Yeah, and those are dollars out the door. I mean, that's a hard cash expense, right? So now you're the business owner. You got this bleeding going on in your organization. What is it worth to you? You know, some of the discussions we've had this week with pro advisors is, well, what do you make for bookkeeping? And we're hearing, what was it? One was $500 for 20 hours a month or something like that. You know,
Right.
you're not going to get rich doing that, folks. I'm sorry, okay? But let's talk through, here's a game plan that we can take you into in terms of sales compensation and what you could expect. Okay, you put up your shingle, you say, I'm a sales commission expert. Okay, you go in, what's the first part of any engagement? A review. Give me your Excel spreadsheets. How much is that worth? Probably at least $2,000. Okay? Very simple math, $2,000. A simple review, go through the Excel spreadsheet, do a data map, figure out where things are. Okay? What's the next part? Well, we're going to implement, and we'll show you in a second, an easy commission or a Q commission depending on the client's needs. It means you're setting up the plans, you're setting up the rates, you're setting up the exceptions, you're setting up, well, how much is that? Well, that could be engagement. Gopi, what would you say a pro advisor would?
So our engagements on our side varies anywhere from about $3,000 to, the average customer about $15,000 to $20,000, just the service portion alone. So if we partner with pro advisors and they help to manage that process throughout, we expect that initial implementation alone would be a $4,000 to $5,000 expense for most customers. And it can vary, of course, based on size, et cetera. But again, we've had deals, and a lot of our deals are about $20,000 in implementation costs, up to $100,000. So there's a lot of money that, depending on the size of the company and how painful it is, that they're willing to spend. Again, many industries, it's almost 90% of their expense. Insurance, most of their payouts are to commissions. Mortgage, most of their payouts are to commissions. So a lot of them are just fully paying out their expenses as commissions.